So my Shopify store has been updated. The stuff I've been working on all winter is available. Not all of it. I still have more work to do to get more stuff out. You know, just like my YouTube videos, just like my fishing, the more baits I make, the more time I put into learning this hobby, this skill. The quality of baits are getting better. But so things are going to change a little bit along the way. First of all, there's going to be slight color changes as we go on. To most of you guys, that probably isn't important. But I would hate to sell something, someone get used to that exact color, and then I make a change to it, and then they feel like they lost their favorite color. But the changes should be gradual and slight, basically fixing issues with them. Whether they're too opaque or too transparent, wrong amount of flake, there's going to be slight changes until I really get specific colors worked out to exactly the recipe that I want. As we're going on, the tubes are getting a little bit thinner than they used to be. Some of my first tubes in the first rounds were extremely thick, which could be seen as a positive thing. But realistically, if I am to keep them that thick, I would need to make a new category for triple dipped tubes. I am double dipping my tubes currently. Before, I was triple dipping them to try and get the correct thickness because they were too thin at 2 dips. If you can see what I'm saying, the more dips, the thicker it gets. Well, the temperature at which you dip them makes a big difference. Before, I was dipping them too hot, which I believe may be the issue I had with the goose turd color. I think that specific color does not handle the heat as well as all the other colors, and I may have been overheating some of that and cooking out the yellow, leaving more red, which is causing the color change to happen. Not positive on that, but I've done a couple more rounds colder, like very cold, like just a minimum amount of heat I could use, and so far the colors seem to stay pretty nice. So I think I have the goose turd color figured out. But in doing so, I realized that I could get the tubes at a proper thickness with 2 dips instead of 3, saving me some time, not wasting material, and having the tube itself have a little more movement to the legs, which I think is important. That's the kind of change you're going to see. They're still a good thickness. They're a double dip tube, is what they equate to. You know, and some of these things I've already talked about a lot, but I want to make sure you guys know what you're getting, is what I'm trying to do here. Moving on to, well, just because I have one in my hand, the jointed buzzbait we've already talked about a lot. But I wanted to show you one without the skirt so you guys can really see what is happening here. Hold on one second. Let me grab something. I needed this one for comparison. Okay, so this is a Strike King. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a swinging buzzbait, right? And I wanted to use this to show you something. This design has an issue, in my opinion. It runs great. It starts great. It has all the benefits of a jointed buzzbait, but what it's lacking is sometimes you'll cast this, and with this having the ability to have too much movement, it'll get hung up like this, upside down and crooked. It'll get bound up like that on either side. And that to me is a good way to lose a fish or miss a bite. So that's why when I made my jointed buzzbaits, I limited the range of my joint. It can only go to here, to here. On the side, it can go here to here. It cannot fold up on itself. It will never foul. It's a foulless buzzbait. I don't think you need a ton of range of motion. I just think you need a little joint for when they're thrashing, and that'll help you keep those fish pinned. It has maybe a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch of twist on that hook, keeping it in line with this, keeping it basically weedless, but also giving you a buzzbait that starts up extremely fast. It is extremely stable. I've talked enough about the buzzbait, I think. So far, I've only made the jointed buzzbaits in the white and red, and both 3/8 and quarter. Those are the main ones that get bought. Those are the main ones that I use. In the future, if these sell decently, I'll make more colors. But for now, I just wanted to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to get a jointed buzzbait to try it out. Again, I've talked about this a little bit, but I wanted to make this video specifically about what's going up in my store and talking about my baits in detail. Might be boring for some of you guys. The next addition on the bladed jig side of things, I have gold-plated blades. Only in the 1/2 ounce. I can't get the gold blades in 3/8. And I just made a decent amount in a black and gold and a green pumpkin in gold, because I think it matches well with the gold blade. Nothing too special there. But the gold blade is special. They're actually very expensive. I had to charge a little bit more for those. And they're hard to find. They're hard to get. Usually when somebody comes out with gold blades, they're sold out in like a week. Or you can find them at like $2 a piece, and there's no point in even making them that expensive. So not only did I grow the range of colors for my tubes, a lot of those colors transferred over into some new baits. One of those baits aren't actually new because I was selling them, which is the Hellgrammite, 3-inch Hellgrammite. But what's different here is, first of all, those original Hellgrammites, those were not handmade by me, okay? When I first started off, I really was just testing the waters to see if I could even sell anything. And you guys proved that, yes, I can sell some things. So I'm willing to do my best to hand make every single thing in my store for the future. Hellgrammite's one of the things that I wasn't personally making, but I am now. The first thing to say about the Hellgrammite is it's made out of a super soft plastic. You can see how it just wants to keep moving. And most of my finesse baits are going to be made out of this super soft plastic. It's as close to a Z-Man texture as I can make. No, it is not as durable as a Z-Man. If you want a finesse bait that's super soft and super durable, Z-Man is the answer. If I had to come up with a reason why you guys should buy my bait over Z-Man, I believe Z-Man doesn't even have a Hellgrammite. I don't think. And generally speaking, all of my baits, you're going to get more baits for the same cost compared to a brand like Z-Man. And that's one of my goals too, is to keep things as cheap as I can. Moving on, I don't use these that often, but there is a time and a place for this, and it's the Ned. It's a Midwest Finesse Ned. This is actually what's meant to be paired with my EWG Ned hooks. It also is made out of super soft plastic, and these things are still durable. Like, they're pretty legit. I'm very happy with this plastic that I'm using. And in my test so far, it's lasting a pretty long time. Way longer than a ISHTECH, I'll say that. Another finesse bait I have, and I don't have as many colors in this, paddle tail swim bait. Now, this is still a 3-inch paddle tail, just like my skinny ones. But this is a thicker body, rib design. I think the ribbed is important because it's going to hold on to scent much longer. It's going to have more surface area for that scent, so you can really coat it good and get a good scent on there. Also made out of super floppy plastic, just like the Hellgrammite and the Ned. I think that's going to give it the best action, and I think it's going to give it the best ability to be run slow. You get a stiffer plastic in these, you got to run it fast to get the tail to wag, and then the wag's usually pretty fast. With the softer bait, the tail is going to be able to run at a slower speed, which is important. Now, another thing I'm making that I'm pretty excited to try, I haven't tried it yet, but I have put it in the water to see what it does, is the Mad Craw. This isn't made out of super soft plastic, and I'll tell you why. These two legs, connection is very thin, and you know they're going to end up grabbing these claws. And I want it to be a little bit more durable. And the other thing is, with this, these claws, they do flap. But what this does special is sitting there on the bottom, it's going to stand up. When it's sitting there, it's kind of sitting like this. When you pull this, these pinchers actually go apart when it's moving. Then when you stop, it comes back together, right? And there's more detail to that with the up and down motion. But basically, when you're popping this along the bottom and a fish is coming up behind it, what the fish is seeing is when it's fleeing back, and then when it stops, it's trying to attack the fish, which is exactly what a crayfish does. And it was not necessary to have the super soft plastic to make the claws do that. I can do that with a little tougher material like the tube material, and then this should last even longer. Again, I don't have a ton of these because they're more time consuming to make. In the future, I can buy more of those molds. I can make more of them. Everything I'm making soft plastic wise can be adjusted, and more molds can be bought, bigger injectors can be bought, so I can make more and more and more in less and less time. But I need to wait to see if people are buying them, and that's one of them. And so in the beginning, when I said that I was going to be using only my baits this whole year, that was a partial lie, but not on purpose. You guys already know I've been using a Z-Man drop shot bait for winter. When it's really, really slow, it's really, really cold, the fish aren't active at all, and you still want them to eat in winter, my go-to is a drop shot bait. Now, I am now personally making these, but I was using Z-Mans. Same thing as the rest, made out of super soft plastic. These aren't in my store yet, but I wanted to talk about this now. This to me is a special bait. This is going to work year round. To me, you have options. This could be thrown like a fluke if you wanted to. You could put it on my hover hook, stuff that down in there, cast it out. It's just like a fluke. This is going to work on my Ned like I do for winter fishing. And you could use it as a drop shot as it's meant to be. So I'm pretty excited about this. Yeah, this is coming a little late, but this will be available in the future. I'm currently working on a jointed spinnerbait. Many of you guys requested this after I mentioned the jointed buzzbait. Took me some time. I think I have it figured out just like the buzzbait. This is a limited joint. It has this and this. On the side, it has this to this. Okay? But just like the buzzbait, what's very important here is no matter how it moves, this hook does not roll over, which should keep its weedlessness, which is very important for a spinnerbait in my opinion. Same thing with the buzzbait. Oh, one more thing to note. So these bigger 7-inch soft plastic, it's like a glide bait. It's called a what's it. That's what I'm making. I may just call it a whatchamacallit. This is special because this bait is made out of the more durable material because it's so big. You can get away with the more durable material because it's still going to flop because it's so big. But what makes this special, and I honestly, I can just tell you this is going to be amazing. I haven't even used it yet. The time is coming. Not quite yet. But what I have done here is I am using a sinking plastic on this. You know, one of the issues are if this was made out of a floating plastic, it's basically a top water. It's not going to do anything for you. So I made it out of a sinking plastic. Now that sinking plastic would be very comparable to like a Gary Yamamoto Senko. It sinks pretty good. There's no salt in this. I don't know how they make it sinking, but I have compared this to the Zoom Magnum Flukes, and this sinks like twice as fast, which is still very slow. Don't get me wrong. The Zoom Flukes sometimes you would think, is it even going to sink? Because this pocket down here would catch air and it wouldn't sink. But you'd pop it a couple times, that air bubble would come out of the belly and it would start sinking. And in a lot of cases, that's very important to have that slow sink. But I think it's even more important to get to sink a little bit better because you're missing out on a lot of fish because it's taking too long to get down where you want it to be. So now I don't have to worry about trying to add weight because I will be throwing this nose hooked just like I have before. The dangerous side of that is on the smaller 5-inch flukes, they may get it very deep, which I don't like, but that's why I'm not throwing a 5-inch fluke. But with this, I have yet to have a fish hooked that deep. So to me, throwing a 7-inch fluke style bait nose hooked is way safer than a 5-inch. That 5-inch, they get it way too deep, and to me it's too dangerous. To me, this serves a very good purpose. You can use your finesse rod to throw a giant bait and catch a giant fish without an issue. You don't need to have a heavy rod to throw this or to hook set it because you're just going to have a single hook in the nose. But this still has the body cavity. If you want to throw it on a beast hook or a 5/0 EWG, you go right ahead. That's fine. Now, the bag I ordered for these, way too big, but I got them cheap. So we're going to use them, and I have a whole bunch. It's kind of ugly, doesn't look so professional. I'm starting to sound like a salesman, and that's not really, it's not who I am. To me, I'm just telling you what I know about my baits so you know what you're getting. I'm not trying to sell anything. You don't have to buy anything. That's totally fine. There are other companies out there, like me, small companies, 1 or 2 guys making baits out there. You can find them. So I'm saying that because I would rather see you guys buy off of somebody like me, even if you're not going to buy from me. You know, Walmart's nice and convenient and easy. I'm not saying I'm against that. I've done it. I still do it from time to time. But if you know someone doing what I'm doing, I'm sure they would appreciate it just as much as me if you would rather buy their flukes or their Senkos or their buzzbaits or spinnerbaits than running to Walmart and giving Walmart money. Walmart makes enough money, in my opinion. Of course, you guys do whatever you want. I'm not going to criticize you for anything you do. Of course, in time, I'll be making more and more stuff. 100%. I'm going to keep this going, even just for myself. You know, I go through a lot of baits in a year. And even if I don't sell that much stuff, it's still going to benefit me to make my own stuff because I don't have to pay full price from someone else. There's one last bait that you're probably going to see me using that I can't make, but in the future I'm going to try to make something similar. And that is the 7-inch diesel minnow. Again, Z-Man. In this case, these diesel minnows, I don't think you can beat it. I don't think anyone will ever be able to beat it. It's going to last you forever. Super durable. It's not even that expensive. But you're going to be seeing me use this on my belly weighted swim bait hook, where you stuff it inside. To me, this is like started off as my musky bait, but ended up being my big smallie bait. In the future, I will probably try to make some big paddle tails, because this has a place and you will catch giants with this. So I didn't want to lie to you guys when I'm saying I'm only using my baits, but this is going to be one of the exceptions. I'm trying to think of anything else I should say. So I am also making a nail weight, or a Nico weight. They're lead, they're not tungsten. Most of the Nico guys like tungsten, but to me they're expensive and whatever. Lead. I like lead. I have 16ths, 8ths, 3/16ths, and quarters. Some of you guys are going, quarter? Holy crap, what are you Nico rigging with a quarter? I got an idea coming up I'm going to try. It's going to come into play here eventually. But what's interesting about mine is it's ribbed, and on the 1/8 ounce, there's 3 ribs, and if you cut that at that 3rd rib, you turn your 1/8 ounce into a 16th. Exactly 16th. Quarter, same thing. You cut it at that 3rd rib, and you create an 1/8. It's very cool that it works out like that. Oh, I think there is a new color bladed jig I'm making that wasn't in there from last year. And that's a green pumpkin red. Hopefully you guys can see that. Pretty cool color. So there's definitely people that watch me that, A, can't get out to fish, whether it's disability, they're getting too old, too busy, and so they would like to support the channel, but there's no point in them buying baits because they can't get out and fish. And this is a great way to support my channel if you want, is I'm going to have some stickers. Nice stickers. These are nice stickers. I think they're 5 inches by like 3 inches, having the black and white and the black and red. And the next thing, so many of you guys have asked over the years, and I think I finally have something that is exactly what I wanted, and that is a Fishin' with Ish t-shirt. Has Fishin' with Ish on the front. It's got the bigger Fishin' with Ish logo on the back. There's no shrinkage issues. I can get them reasonably priced. And so this is a great way to support the channel. You know, it's a little more expensive being printed on both front and back, but I think it looks way better to have the little symbol in the front of your chest and then the bigger one on the back. I think it just makes a better looking t-shirt. And it costs a little bit more to do that. So these will be priced at 25 bucks. And of course, I know what a lot of you are saying is, Ish, that's a black t-shirt. I'm not going to go out in summer wearing a black t-shirt and cook. And so I also have it's like a heather, it's not white, it's like a light gray with a black logo. Again, front and back. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew this or if I even talked about this. And I call it the dude fish. I don't do this quite as much as I used to, but anytime I caught a good fish, all I could say was dude. I was so excited. Oh, dude. And so if you look in its pattern, it spells out dude. Now, it spells it out D-O-O-D. That's how I've always spelled dude. I don't spell it D-U-D-E. When I'm saying dude, there's nothing about that needs to be proper. I always spelled it D-O-O-D. So if you look real good, I incorporated that into the design of the smallie pattern. I didn't buy a whole bunch of t-shirts because I really don't know how many people want to buy them. But again, that would be a great way to support the channel. I think we finally have the store at a place that I feel more comfortable. I think I have a good variety of things. I think it's a good quality. I think it's a good price. And I think overall, we're set to make this thing continue growing this year and become a pretty cool thing going on. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you buy anything from my store, I appreciate it and I thank you very much. We'll have some fishing videos coming. It's warming up. It's spring. Fishing's going to be great. Hopefully you catch a giant. I'll see you guys next time.